Hi everyone, and welcome to the Remain Indoors podcast, where we'll be looking at some lighter news from around the internet, having a grumble when required, and talking about the ways we're keeping ourselves entertained. Remain indoors. Hi, I'm your host, Richard Spanners Ready, and we'll be here for the next 40 minutes or so talking about all things lifey life. If you're watching it on the video version, you can see I've got the live stream up next to me. So hello to Mike, Lauren, the Roo, which is Garen, I think, Kaylee, Mark, Martin, and Will, and Patrick, and everybody else joining us on the live stream. I'm not alone. It's not just you and me. I'm also joined by Matt. Two Rumpets. How's it going there, Matt?
We're doing quite well. Thank you very much. Good to see you again after
Right.
such a great race we had yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Before we talk about the iRacing, right? Anyone who's watching it on the video version will see that your head is much lower in your frame because we're not doing green screen today. We're doing side-by-side, picture-in-picture. And your head is a lot lower than mine. So it's making it looks like a power play from me. It looks like I've gone, okay, Matt, you can be here. But like the Dalai Lama, I insist your head is lower than me. So just assuring everyone that wasn't a power play. Now I'm sitting here trying to adjust it. Trying to adjust it.
I am sitting here trying to video it.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't see
cool.
it adjusting though. Hang on.
No, right. Okay, then. So, firstly, Matt, how's it going? Not seen you for a while in video form, but we did have a great Titanic tussle in iRacing. And between you and me, I think we were both better than Van Gene.
Yeah, we had the better setup. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
No.
We were clearly faster than him.
Put it down to talent.
I think, I was going to say, I think it may not be his favorite track. He never seemed entirely comfortable there.
Okay, well, you can watch his stream. Check out Van Gene's stream on Swarm Nights, and you can watch us indulging ourselves in pretend race cars on Wednesday nights. But Matt, that's not where I wanted to start. I wanted to start with a news item. You know how we're always promising news items, and then we never get to them.
Yes, so what are we going to not get to today?
So it's a news item, a real current article that I found from the 19th of June, right? And the headline is BBC article, Coronavirus, your new bike won't be in stock until 2021, the cycle search frenzy. Now, obviously, that is some 6 weeks ago, but I knew nothing about this. In the UK, there's a massive bike shortage, and it's impossible to get hold of a bicycle anywhere. And I only realised that because, I finally bit the bullet and went to upgrade the kids' bikes, only to find you literally cannot pick up a kid's bike.
Wow. Well, that kind of makes sense, though, because you have all these kids at home, and you need some way of entertaining them that doesn't involve locking them in a room with 20 or so, 30 or so other kids and an adult. So, I kind of get that. But I do know that I remember a similar article here that bikes have suddenly become very, very popular as traffic has increased and public transportation, for some reason, people are still hinky about.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on a tube train at the moment. But yeah, no, for us, it's completely it's leisure time. Wife hates it when I say leisure time. It's leisure time for us because a lot of the entertainment has been exploring the local areas and stuff. Going out on bike rides, there's a nice woods nearby for us. And my little girl, she's been struggling up the hills. And I noticed she started doing this thing on her bike where every pedal press was a clunk. So she's cycling along, she's going clunk, clunk, clunk. And she's really struggling to get up the hills. And also, she keeps getting suddenly the front wheel will get twisted out of shape and she'll just fall down. And I suddenly realized that she'd just grown tons without me realizing it. And now this little bike is it's far too small for her, but you don't notice because you look at them every day.
Yeah, no, it catches up to you. But you're describing the clunk sound, and I'm immediately going, well, either the chain is slipping or the bottom bracket needs adjustment.
No, I just think it's what little kids do, where they just get it into a really low gear on too small a bike, and then instead of being smooth about it, and also she insists on cycling with her heels on the pedal bit. So I would keep shouting at her, put your toes on the pedal bit. So there's no smoothness to it. I think that's just why it was just clunk, clunk, clunk. But we've got her on a bigger bike now, and that's sort of gone away. So I don't think it was the bike.
Yeah, well, if it's making a clunk sound, it probably is the bike in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, no, it should be the ball of her foot on the pedal, absolutely.
I know.
And get him some toe clips and stuff like that. Get them some SPDs and toe clips so they can pedal properly. Ugh.
Right.
And teach them how to use the gears right. Oh my goodness. You want to maintain a steady cadence and you want to adjust your gear so that you're about 90 RPM. And then you're cooking with gas.
So when
Then you're going somewhere.
when I had a brief affair with road bikes, so briefly I thought that was going to be my midlife crisis, was going to be road bikes, and used the toe clippy things for the first time. No, in fact, so I didn't ever have the shoes that clipped in, but I did have at least the bracket on the front that stops you moving your feet too far forward. And then I'd get to like traffic lights and things, and you'd suddenly go, uh-oh, my foot's not quite slipping in and out and I can't get my foot down. Well, that effect, with kids would be much, much more. So, no, I'm not giving my kids clippies because they 100%, every time we have to stop, they will just fall straight down.
No, just the clips, not the straps. Like, see, now when I started racing, was still proper old school. We didn't have index shifting, and I raced with cleats, toe clips, and straps. So there was like a cleat that fit over the back of the pedal, and then you strapped your foot in. So when you came to a traffic light, you had to actually reach down, undo the strap, get your foot out of the pedal and put it down before you fell over. And it was always a bit of an excitement because occasionally you would just like fall over.
Okay, that sounds fun. So that sounds definitely what I shouldn't have the kids doing. No, we've stuck with mountain bikes for now. But no bikes available anywhere. So plan B was we just gave. Well, she just inherited the boy's bike, so it was kind of like, hang on, let's try you on the lad's bike, and he's like two years ahead. Right. So as soon as we tried her on that bike, suddenly went, oh, that bike fits. Would you just like this bike? And like, of course, it's Big Brother's bike. It's super, super cool. So she jumps at it. Now the boy's left without a bike. Okay, it's okay. It's fine. We're just going to go out and we're going to buy you a bike. And then we went to Halfords. Okay, Halfords don't have any. Yep, no problem at all. We'll look on eBay for a second-hand one. Nothing. On the way home, I find this little bike shop in the countryside. And bear in mind, I know nothing about this bike shortage. And this guy is being so snobby about the bike. I said, have you got any 24-inch frame bikes? And he went, yeah, mate, yeah, we can order one for you. I said, have you not got any in? He said, no, we've not got any in at the moment. But you can pick one in from the catalogue, and we're getting a new bunch in mid-September. So I'm thinking, what, mid-September? What are you on about, mid-September? And he was like, yeah, mid-September. And I was like, oh, no, I wanted a bike today. And this lad, he's got to be like 21 or whatever. He just goes, good luck, turns around and walks to the back of the store. And I went, oh, what are you doing? He was like, honestly, just like laughing to himself, walking away. Like, why can't you just say, there's a bit of a bike shortage. Did you not know? No, I did not know because I didn't read this article from June in the BBC. But yeah, so apparently, this lad's mocking me. And I look online, absolutely no bikes to be found anywhere. But here's the scary thing. I just got my wife's bike, which is a unisex bike, put the seat all the way to the bottom, and that's fine. That's just his bike now. I'm like, why are these children growing so fast? It's unreal.
It only gets worse. It only gets worse. It'll start being 2 or 3 sets of clothes a year. And you'll absolutely love that part of it. Well, maybe not so bad with Tree Face there, but yeah. I do recall, they are now the mammoth shopping expeditions. Well, now she's stopped growing so much, but when she was going through the big growth phase, it was 2 or 3 times a year, entire days spent at malls and in shops. And now she's more of a vintage girl, so it's not so bad. She finds individual bits online and orders them for herself. But yeah, it was a major expedition keeping her in proper clothes.
Right. So speaking of expeditions, then how are your family adventures? I saw pictures on your Instagram of you and the family going out on a big family picnic.
Yeah, we did. The wife had realized that sitting around doom scrolling day after day was not doing her brain any favors. And so she had requested that we make a trip, and I cleared a day of things so we could go on this activity. And she found this historic homes trip that you could do in your car. And the first place she wanted to go was Phillips Manor, which is in
Yeah.
Yonkers, but is also apparently a neighborhood in Sleepy Hollow. And my GPS took us to the neighborhood in Sleepy Hollow and not to the actual historic home.
Oh.
But confusingly, there's also Phillipsburg Manor, which we had been to before, which was right around the corner. So like my inner spidey sense of, wait, this doesn't seem right, didn't really tick over.
Yeah.
We did wind up going to the old Dutch church, which legend has it is where the headless horseman tethers his horse at night amongst the graveyard. So we did get out and walk around there.
Okay.
And then we went to go to another place that we could also not get to and wound up in a retirement home complex instead. And then we went to go to a third place that we also could not find, but we did wind up at this park that we did mean to go to, and it was a lovely place for a picnic. So the whole day worked out great.
And it was like sort of like waterside as well.
Yeah, it was right on the Hudson River. It was Croton Point Park. And we went in, the picnic benches were in the shade, looking out over the Hudson. And it was just this lovely, lovely area. And the wife had packed all of this food for us, which is way more than we could actually eat. And it was loads of fun. And I still feel bloated, if I'm being honest.
How's the weather been for you guys, though? Because here in the UK, it has been absolutely sweltering hot. You know, maybe not Manhattan inner city hot, but for us, we've been at like our full peak melting and beyond for the last sort of 4 days.
Yeah, we have what's called a subtropical air mass sitting over the city.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't been the hottest it's been all summer, but it's like humid, enormously humid, and, you know, fairly hot, getting up around 30 or so in your ridiculous units, I think.
Yeah, so, right, okay, so that's, hang on, completely wrong picture there for the people watching at home. Well, for us, it's been like 34 to 37. So we've had it like proper hot. We've had that humidity as well. And all this week, my wife's been running workshops in the morning. So she's been running online workshops in the morning. By the way, going really well. I'm going to update some people on personal kind of Spanner's business world in a little bit. But the wife's found this thing online that kind of works, which is running these full-on singing workshops over Zoom. And the kids don't mind it at all. They love it because there's not a lot of pressure. You don't have to cram into a classroom. It's mostly one way with a bit of confirmation. And then the kids all produce like a video as their kind of output. So they send a video back, and then she's compiling them into these montage videos and stuff. And the kids are really loving them, and it seems to be working. And we're attracting, you know, students from, you know, not just the local area now, you know, people coming in from London and stuff too. And we had one person wanting to join from the US, but it would have been in the middle of the night for them. So she's managed to get that working. So she's doing them in the morning. She's done them every week in the morning. And then she's gone, right, well, your shed time is in the afternoon. But when I've gone in to do narration at 1 o'clock, of course, we've now had this boiling heat. The sun has been baking the shed, and it is impossible to do anything in here in the afternoon. So like, I could have the aircon on, and I could do some editing, I could do some work. Like the second I have to do a drop-in for like a mistake in a chapter of an audiobook, turn the aircon off, and within like a minute, it's just pure cooking.
Full swelter mode. Yeah. Just sweat dripping down.
Yeah, but it's more like...
it kind of is.
Yeah. But I sort of feel like I'm in an oven, so you kind of feel like this isn't right. You're starting to panic and go like, how's the temperature in this room changed so quickly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just closed the door when we started the show, and I'm already dripping sweat in here.
Good.
And my office is on the air conditioned side of our house, because that's always the thing that amazes me, that despite years of experience with really hot temperatures, you don't even bother to get like a window unit for like some area of the house. You just like open the windows and complain bitterly for days about the fact that you have actual weather.
Yeah, and the kids are so hot in their room. Obviously, the shed is air conditioned mostly because of the equipment. But I haven't got the fancy split one. If you have a split one, then you can have the noisy bit outside. Didn't stretch to spending like $1,000 on that, so we've just got a unit, and that works fine. It's got a vent outside. But in the house, nothing like that. So we've got fans. The kids were absolutely sweltering hot. Now, my wife always insists. She's not here to defend herself, but that's her fault. She absolutely insists, like, on not having aircon in the house ever. And since we've got this unit, I went, do you know what? You're not the boss of me. I'm going to just bring it upstairs, put it in one of the bedrooms, and see if we can cool the upstairs down with it. Now, it turns out that this little portable one really hasn't got the grunt to do the whole upstairs. But it would have been better than nothing. But she insisted on opening her windows in the room she was in because she was like, no, I'm not part of your aircon experiment. So, of course, with her window open, it didn't really do much. But I had to like fashion from a bit of tarpaulin and like, cut a hole in it and then put the hose in it and duct tape it to the window. And you can imagine the spousal pressure that I came under.
Yeah. My wife doesn't really like air conditioning either, but we get to certain environmental flash points, and what we do is we have a window unit. We close off half the apartment, and then we just live in the other half till the heat goes away, and we can just cut it back off again and be normal. The only real problem with that is the cats, because they are just right jerks about, oh, we will be on the warm side of the house, and as soon as you get settled, we shall come into the cold side of the house, and in so doing, open the door really wide so all the cold air gets out. So you're getting up every 2 minutes, and as soon as you close them in on the cold side, one of them decides, oh, I think I shall go back to the warm side of the house and reopen that door that you just closed all over again. I think it's a game they play.
Gabe in the chat room, Richard MacGyver ready at your service. Yeah, it didn't look great. In my wife's defense, it did look awful from the inside and the outside. But it did, at least it cooled one room down.
But aside from that, it was perfect. Didn't look good from either side, but
I know it looked terrible, but I don't care. I don't care about aesthetics. I don't care if it matches the house's decor. I just wanted the kids to be, cool and comfortable. But yeah, they just had to sit there with the fans and the windows open and just live with it basically. But in the mornings when my wife's been doing these workshops, we've been going on dad ventures, and we've been having some absolutely amazing dad ventures. Honestly, for any parents of little kids out there, like if you've got kids under 6 or something like that, and you just can't do anything with them beyond go to a play center or like take them to a park, stand by for when they are 8 and 10, because now we are just having the best fun. Now that they're both on big bikes, so the difference between like little V, she was holding us back on her little bike because she would get tired, she would just randomly fall down on it. But now she's on Big Brother's bike. She's on I think it's a 20-inch wheel bike. Like we can now set off from home and we can easily get 4 or 5 miles out, do an activity, hang out there for a few hours, and then do a few miles back. So, like, suddenly the world has just opened up to us. And then also there's less whinging, there's less crying. You don't have to worry about real meal times because mum's not listening. We had ice cream for lunch twice. It just gets a lot better when they're older.
It does. And the older they get, the better it gets. Until one presumes they get to a certain age, and then they just go away.
Yeah.
Yes, and leave you alone.
So we've been having dad ventures, and the thing we've discovered, and it's something I've never done in my life before, is rivers. So just randomly going to rivers and going, well, let's just get in that river and see what we can do.
Yes, let's see if we can discover some leeches, possibly some interesting bugs. I mean, there's no shortage of fun things in rivers. We used to... where I grew up, we had a creek.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of a scary creek, but it was definitely a creek. And we spent ages thrashing around back there, destroying toys and having all sorts of adventures, crawling through drainage pipes and, looking for poisonous snakes, all the things that kids should be doing with their free time in the summer.
Do you know what the best thing we found was?
What?
We found a lobster.
Really?
Yeah. Look, this is we're in central Bedfordshire.
You sure it wasn't a crawfish? I don't believe they have lobsters in rivers.
Oh, hang on a minute. Now I have to Google what a crawfish is. Spell that for me.
CRAW, fish.
2 words.
No, 1 word.
Oh, okay. Couldn't see. Sorry for the live Googling, but now I thought it was a lobster. It looked exactly like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely what it is. It's a crayfish, we call it. Oh, okay, it's a crayfish. All right. I may have spent a significant amount of time yesterday telling people I found a lobster. Okay, so it wasn't a lobster. No, I'm looking at the picture. That is definitely a crayfish. Well, that's still quite exciting. So we found a crayfish yesterday.
Yes, they're very tasty critters.
Are they? So I could have caught and eaten that. It scuttled away from us like a mini Zoidberg. But yeah.
Yeah.
So we found that. It was really exciting. There was loads of fish in this river as well. And I, I'm a townie. I've never been the kind of person to, I didn't grow up with like woods around me or anything like that. So when we were cycling along and I found like a gap where we could get through to the river, we locked our bikes up and I said, okay, we'd brought with us some flip-flops in case we wanted them. Put our flip-flops on, locked everything up, put my backpack on my bag, and then we just decided I said, kids, I cannot tell you whether or not this is safe or not. Like, I genuinely don't know, but let's get in the river. And we waded through about half a mile up the river and back again. And it felt like a proper adventure.
That's loads and loads of fun. We actually, on our picnic, when we were by the graveyard, there was a nice stream there, and there was even someone wading in it. I mean, it was not a deep stream. It's technically, I think it was a river. Pocantico River? Anyway, but I said, well, shall we go down and see if we can get close to it? And my wife is like, yes, but as long as we don't have to walk through any woods. And so here in the United States, and this is a reasonable thing because they weren't really dressed for traipsing through woods, but we have this plant called poison ivy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have it. Do you have poison ivy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it grows everywhere now. And yeah, so it was just not a risk we were willing to take with our skin.
Oh, okay. So you didn't join them wading the river. Well, we did. We jumped down this little bank. We got into the river, and I'm saying to them, right, I don't know what's at the bottom of this river. I could see a metal bar. So I'm saying, right, we don't scrape our feet along. When we step, we pick up our feet, and then we place our feet down so that we're hitting the bottom of the soles and we're not kicking anything and cutting our feet on anything. Where we got in on the way back, I saw a little thing poking out of the water. And this is just where we'd got in, by the way. And I went in and I reached up and I got it. It was a huge amount of barbed wire. Like, had we gone to the left, we'd have stepped straight into barbed wire, but we went to the right and we missed it. And my heart, I was like, oh my God, kids, I told you it wasn't safe. Look, there's barbed wire sitting here. Yeah, it's good parenting, isn't it?
That's great parenting. Actually, you were reminding me of a whole aspect of our picnic. We had this unexpected discovery. We drove up to this place called Verplanck Point, which was famous for some historical reason that has already gone out of my head. But it again, nice view of the Hudson. And we're like, okay, time to go home. It's late enough in the afternoon. We want to get back before rush hour. And as we're driving up the road to make sort of a loop and U-turn and get back on the highway, we start seeing these huge fences with not just barbed wire, with razor wire all atop them. And a big sign that says Entergy, and my brain went ding, 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 ding. And I said, oh my goodness, this is the Indian Point nuclear power plant. And sure enough, no sooner did I say that, there were the containment domes. And now, something that people probably don't know about my daughter is she's become absolutely obsessed with the HBO film Chernobyl. And she now knows a ridiculous amount about nuclear reactors and nuclear reactor design.
Okay.
And it was by far, the whole family got stupidly excited. Like, if we had just gone on purpose and found that, it would have been exciting. But finding it by accident was like the best thing that happened to us in weeks. And so just all the way home, we were just buzzing about seeing, a nuclear power plant. Anyway. No,
it's good. It's like, it's a great shared family memory. And I don't know if I'm going to tell the kids that was a crayfish and not a lobster, because I don't want to ruin their memory of the time they found a lobster. So
Yeah,
go on.
I was going to say, what you really could have done if you wanted to make it memorable was bring it home and chuck it in boiling water and eat it.
Oh, it scuttled away too fast, I'm afraid. Although there was a genuine dodgy moment. We went under a bridge, and it's like a road bridge over the top of this river. And as we were getting to it, I suddenly noticed it was a bit squishier underfoot. I was like, oh, this footing isn't quite as solid as before. I said, tell you what, let's go up onto the bank, and just for this squishy bit, we'll walk along the bank and then we'll go back down in. So I went to go towards the bank, and my foot disappeared down to my knee. So it just fully disappeared into mud. But the little girl's next to me. She's fine because she's light as a feather. Pick her up, put her on the bank. So get my other leg, try and stretch forward. No, squish, that goes down to the knee as well. And I'm like, oh man. So I managed to get one foot out, go take another step. And I just feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. So the boy's 10. I had to reach over, grab the boy. I had to lift him up, put him on the bank so that he could get some purchase with his legs and use him to pull myself up. And I thought, we're definitely somewhere. Like it would gone through private land. We're definitely somewhere you're not supposed to be. No one's going to find us. And I'm stuck here, like genuinely stuck in mud.
Yeah, I'm imagining. Go home and be sure and tell your mother that I love her.
Have a good life. Have a good life, Two-Face. Look after your mother. Look after. But the kids, though, it's because there was that element of quote unquote danger and unsuredness, and we didn't know where we were going and what to expect. They really they said that like, you know, that's one of the best days of their lives because, you know, it's not we're used to very kind of sanitized places, a play center or a playground where everything is sort of safe by law and that it's someone's fault. If they get hurt, it's someone's fault. So they have an incentive to not have people get hurt. In this backwater river in the middle of nowhere, like it's just my fault.
Yeah. Sam Watley's in with, whatever happens, don't tell mom. But you see, the thing about kids is they know instinctively when you've gone and done something that they're having a super good time doing, but that they know that if mom was there, it might have been forbidden altogether for reasons. They'll never spill the beans about that stuff ever because then they know they don't get to do it again.
So I wonder, like, if people do this kind of thing, whether you just get into a local. It's a small river, like it wasn't. It was up to like our waists at points, and it was so hot it didn't matter if you got wet. That was the big thing because it was so hot we were instantly going to get dry. I was like, yeah, whatever, let's just go for it. I don't know if you're allowed. Are you just allowed to get into a river and just walk the length of it? Is there any laws? Like, do you need a river license or a permit or anything like that?
I think the rivers themselves are protected as navigable waterways. There's actually some really big land use conflicts out west about this. People have been shot over it, but getting out of the river and onto land is where you could potentially have some issues. But I think if you're on the water proper, it's usually considered public property. It doesn't mean you won't get, someone won't walk out with a shotgun and tell you to get out of their backyard just because you happen to be wandering through it in a river. But I think the law may mostly be on your side.
So even if it's their land, the river bit is fair game, kind of like a footpath. So as we were wading through the river, we suddenly see these kind of very Heath Robinson stairs, like rickety construction, going up the bank. And I'm like, okay, I'll go and check that out. So I went up those stairs, and like as I peeked my head over, I am just in someone's garden. So that particular part of the river was their garden. So so there I would run into a tricky spot. But it's like a whole new adventure because nearby there's loads of these shallow rivers, and so we're just like, right, we're just gonna get in the river and go for a stroll down the river, go and see what other strange monster lobsters we can find.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That is, your kids will remember that for the longest of times, I guarantee you. Because whenever we did stuff like that, it still gets talked about even to this day. Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything unsafe. So please make safe decisions. And I don't know if we made a safe decision.
Lucas is saying my friends and I would grab inner tubes and float the river near my house all the time growing up. And we had a huge river. Chattahoochee River. And when I was a high school senior, we did exactly that. It was us, a bunch of inner tubes, many, many cases of beer, and the worst case of sunburn I have ever had in my life, because halfway down there was like a big jumping point, and I jumped off with my t-shirt tied around my head, and the t-shirt came off. And so I spent the entire rest of the day with no shirt, not thinking much of it at the time because, of course, one is 17. But that night, you mentioned lobster. Yeah, I was like cooked lobster. I felt sick. Only time a sunburn's ever made me feel that way.
Okay, I don't know if you can really make it out on the video, but I am very, very tanned at the moment. Like, not quite as tanned as I get, but I'm fully to the point where if I go on a Greek or Cypriot holiday, and this has happened before, by the way, they will speak to me in Greek, and then I'll have to say I don't speak Greek. Then they'll get very upset because I'm obviously Greek as far as they're concerned. And like I said in Cyprus, I said they said, oh, you're not Cypriot. I said, no, I'm not Cypriot. And they went, but you're Greek. I'm like, no, I'm British. And they're like, yes, but you have a Greek mother. I'm like, no, honestly, I'm not. So that's how Greek I look with a tan. But I've got to that levels just from how hot it's been, just walking around. I haven't been sunbathing or anything.
It's just that.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You actually look kind of yellow on the
yellow.
Yeah.
Racist. Okay, as a Southeast Asian, I'm very offended by that.
Or you could just adjust the white balance.
Oh yeah, or I could adjust.
which is why you look that color. I'm sure you don't look that color to the stream because it's a different camera.
Yeah, it might be. Oh yeah, no, I'm looking at the camera you're looking at me at. In fact, I can show the live chat that camera. I'm gonna go. Here we go. When we have your callers in, and you can see how yellow I appear on that. So yeah, Matt's right. Okay, we'll skip the court martial.
As always.
But I'm really, really brown, and the one time I was in the sun, you might consider sunbathing. I was in my new hammock, so I was sitting in the hammock relaxing, and I just dozed off. And I dozed off for about half an hour, and I woke up, and my face just felt like it was on fire. I was like, oh geez, what am I going to do? Kids' paddling pool was next to me, and I just fully just dunked my head just fully in the paddling pool. And you know, like in the films where there's the armorer, the ironmonger, is like bashing a sword, and then he puts it in the water. That was my head.
That is making me think of a show that I watched with Anthony Bourdain, where he went to someone who made knives, and they talked about some special treatment. And he said you can see a shadow going across the blade as he heated it back up. And he said that's actually the carbon working its way through a structural change in the blade. But that's just because he was literally forging a blade, and you were just talking about forging a blade.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to my face. So it forged my new face.
Yes. Your new brown face.
Yeah, in the paddling pool. I can't remember why I got to that now. Yeah. So like sitting there, nicely tan, nicely brown. And it does make a difference to like how you see yourself. And like I said, I couldn't go on a Greek holiday. I can't remember why I was talking about my stupid brown face now, to be honest.
Well, I think because I was talking about sunburn, so
naturally
led us down that.
There we go. Yeah. So
cul-de-sac that we're desperately seeking to escape conversationally.
I tell you what, it doesn't happen to us very often. But yeah, so basically, I generally don't sunburn unless I'm a real idiot about it. So I can pretty much, I don't really use suntan lotion unless I notice something's starting to come up. And the kids have got a bit of that, so they can. If we just get caught out in the sun, they're both probably fine. Like, they've never been sunburned. But on these dad ventures, on both occasions, I got out and I realised I'd only sun lotioned one kid, and I'd just forgotten to do the other kid. So like, first day, put the suntan lotion on the little girl, did it all up, and I was like, oh, brilliant, you're all done, set to go. Right, let's get the bikes. And then we're out and about, and I'm looking at the lad going, did I put any suntan lotion on you? He's like, no. I'm like, well, I did on your sister. I guess now you know who's the favourite. And then I did exactly the opposite 2 days later. I suntan the boy.
You had to even it out.
Yeah. Well, no, the little girl went, Dad, you didn't put any lotion on. And she went, that means Oscar's the favourite today. but they're okay. They'll get away with it. They've got quite melanin-y skin, so we don't really burn. But when we go on holiday, the three of us, me, the boy, and the girl, we go this kind of brown that I am now, and my wife just doesn't tan at all. She'll go slightly red and maybe have a hint of colour by the end of the week. So we go out there all looking like a family, and then by the end of the holiday, we just look like a family that just found this white woman. So we're all very kind of mismatched, and she hates us for it.
Really? She's jealous of your ability to tan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's always been a thing. I tan pretty easily, and I tend to I turn a nice
Golden
brownish
brown.
red color. Yeah.
Mm.
And neither my wife nor my daughter does anything other than look like perhaps they originally came from Ireland or someplace.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, not that there's anything wrong with. There's nothing wrong with being white and from Ireland. So we make that completely clear. While we're looking at looks and aesthetics, should we have a diet and health update? So last week had I started when we were talking to Dr. Holding? I think I was a few days into a diet, wasn't I?
Yeah, we talked about diet, but
Yeah.
you have given us no progress reports. as
Oh,
of
okay.
yet.
Well, as you can tell by my face, I've definitely, when you've been a fatty, haven't you, Matt? You've been a chubster. When you first start losing weight, and changing your diet, there is a period of time where you are just getting rid of like bloating and you're stopping yourself from holding water, and instantly like within a couple of days of just like changing to a lower calorie, healthier diet, you will just stop holding water, be a bit less bloated, and you'll lose a few pounds just in that way. But even that is good enough to make you go, ooh, this is good. I should have done this ages ago.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, like when you first start to be able to notice, and it does happen pretty rapidly if you're working at it consistently.
Okay, look, just got to go circle back to a couple of chat room comments there. Lauren says, that's Lauren Thomas. You've got to come and join us next week, Lauren, if you're free. I look like I've escaped from the morgue. You've been out running, though. You've been out running. You should have a really big tan. Simon says, I look like a slab of mahogany. Is that all? Maybe he's saying me. Let's presume it's me. And Taylor Messer is in the same boat as Nicola. I'm very jealous of my Cuban husband's ability to tan. Have you guys got kids? And wait till you've got 3 of them that can tan and you can't. So yeah, back to the diet. Yeah, so yeah, I had that thing where all the water weight sort of fell away, and it's really kind of positive and it's encouraging, and you feel lighter, and you go, oh man, why aren't I doing this all the time? And I realized that there's this cutover point between making yourself feel good because you're just indulging in whatever you want. So it's like, oh, I could have snacks with the kids and a wagon wheel. I will do that. And just indulging yourself every time you feel hungry and sating that hunger feels brilliant. Then you have to kind of stop yourself for a couple of days with no discernible benefit. And then that act of like losing bloating and just losing a bit of water weight suddenly goes, well, that feels good. And there's this tipping point where the feeling of doing something positive outweighs the kind of instant gratification of just giving in to kind of every base desire, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. They're different kinds of pleasures, but they exist on the same spectrum. I always found that I tasted things better and enjoyed their taste more if I let myself get properly hungry. Like most, because it is, it's very easy. Food is so convenient in our society in so very, very many ways. And so you can go through a whole day and never get more than the faintest stirring of hunger and then eat food to make it go away. But if you really let yourself get properly hungry, when you do eat, it's like, oh, wow. Like everything smells better, sharper, everything tastes better, sharper. And it's enjoyable because you appreciate it more. That's my theory in any event.
Well, yeah, and I was saying last week that one of my easiest go-to kind of calorie restriction things is to just not eat in the morning. So I haven't eaten in the morning at all, and there is that satisfaction. So by the time it gets to lunchtime, you're not feeling bogged down and heavy, and you're actually nice and hungry. And that morning thing where you want to break the fast of the nighttime, your break fast, and eat, that there is a real strong urge to wake up and eat some food. But if you don't, like, you're completely fine because you've still got like the energy from the meal before.
Wow.
I've got quite a lot of energy sat here above my belt line. Like, getting over that initial I'm supposed to eat now, you can get through the morning, and that's your most energy rich time as well. And I don't know. I've found that cutting out breakfast has been a really easy way for me to go about things. And also, I've stuck to the super low calorie as well. And even after a week, you just get into the habit quite easily. So, but with this calorie restriction, if you do have a treat, you've just got to substitute out other calories or whatever. I, for twice, had ice cream for lunch and then didn't eat any proper food until the evening. But it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but the pounds have started coming down already within a week. And it's just been really super encouraging. I'm just starting to kind of, there's a bit of looseness in that t-shirt. It's all in my head, I'm sure. But the actual scales have just been firing down super rapid, which is annoying because it means that all my COVID weight was definitely my fat, greedy fault.
Yeah, well, this is the thing with, it's interesting. And I kind of wish Dr. Andrew was on because nutrition science is so weird and so terribly, terribly unsupported. But in general, if you just eat stuff that doesn't have a lot of ingredients in it and hasn't been pre-prepared for you, you're not going to go too far wrong. And so like having an ice cream, well, I don't know. Is it store-bought ice cream or was it like a place that makes their own? Because we got a place around the corner that makes their own.
Oh,
and,
do you know,
yeah,
I milked a cow myself and then I traveled to the Arctic and I made my own ice cream. No, it was a store-bought one. Yeah, in fact, I'll tell you how store-bought. It was a Co-op one. And I was looking around for like an ice cream stand or something to buy the kids some ice cream. Wasn't planning to have one, by the way. And there was nothing like that. So we had to go to a small supermarket. And in the freezer, there was, all they had was a packet of 4. So I had to buy these 4 Cornettos and it was like for £2. So if you bought one from an ice cream stand, each ice cream was going to cost at least £2 anyway. Whole box was £2 here. There you go. You have one, you have one. So I had one as well. And that was my lunch for the day. And then we had one left. And I was like, oh, it seems really wasteful to throw it away. We should offer it to like, I don't know, like a passing kid or something. Like, hey, do you want this bonus ice cream? But I didn't do it because I think that would have sounded really, really weird.
I would have just shared it amongst the 3 of us, but that's just me.
No, we didn't do that. So we ended up chucking it, which was a bit of a waste. But there we go. But yeah, so no, it was a store-bought ice cream, Matt. But I think in general, I'm just counting the calories. I'm trying to keep to 800 calories a day. And I've got to leave room for a couple of Budweisers. Bud Light, 80 calories a can. So that's all right. So I can have 2 of those, an ice cream, and then a small amount of food. Super healthy, right?
So 6 Bud Light and a piece of toast. There we go.
6 Bud Light and an ice cream. That's my diet.
Perfect.
Oh mate,
I'm not get healthier.
I'm not doing a diet where you can't drink alcohol. Like dieting's depressing enough. You're suffering enough.
Yeah, no. Well, whatever calorie restriction you use, you got to leave room for this stuff. And I just, I don't know. I just don't worry about. I don't include the alcohol calories, if I'm being honest. I just don't bother. I don't count calories though, so it's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
But even if I did, those would not count because they burn off pretty easily. I think if you're exercising, I don't think they stick around. Like,
well, we're doing a lot of exercise because we're going on our dad ventures. I'm not running. Yeah. I don't know if Lauren's still in the chat. Sorry, I'm not running. I've not been running for about 3 weeks. It's been it's been hot and I'm not using you. I'm sure that's not an excuse for you, but it is for me. And also I've just felt too fat to run. And I've just like, I don't want to put that much upward energy with a step and put all this heft up in the air only for it to land back down again and have the inertia drill me into the floor. So that's why I set about right now. If I want to go running again, I've got to like chuck off a bunch of weight.
Yeah, the most interesting thing, we went on our last big trip. We went to Italy. We went to Florence. Yeah. We went to Venice. Now, we stayed in the historic area of Florence. And Venice is Venice. You have to walk everywhere. So we walked everywhere. We got in a cab to and from the airport, and that was it. Every other place we went, we walked. But while we were there, we ate fantastic meals. I ate 2 meals, sometimes 3 meals a day after day. And I was convinced that I would have gained weight on this, 12-day, culinary, indulgence. Let's call it that. And when I got home and weighed myself, I actually weighed a little bit less than before I left because we just walked so much all the time that even with all the extra food I was eating, it just came off. So yeah, you're not running, but if you're being
Yeah.
that active that many hours a day, then you are getting some real exercise out of it.
Yeah, because we've had lots of family time. We're walking around loads. We're on our bike tons and everything. And then combined with the calorie restriction as well. So at least I think I'm slightly winning. And I've managed to convince the wife as well. Like they had the spaghetti bolognese yesterday. So instead of, I just said, look, I'm not going to eat. I'm not hungry right now. So I'm not going to eat just because it's dinner time. And then a bit later in the evening, I was like, okay, I am hungry now. I had a bit of the bolognese with some salad and I just put it in a wrap. And I felt like that was definitely less calorific than if I had dumped a bunch of spaghetti with it, because I would have had all the spaghetti. So that's all right. And just finding little snacks and things that are small and light but fill you up. My favorite thing at the moment, again, not healthy. Get a wrap, some cheddar cheese, slice of ham, ton of hot sauce, and then wrap the wrap into a square. So you bring the sides in so that it's now like an I, like the left capital I shape, and then fold it in half so it's now the shape of a piece of toast, and then put that in the toaster and have that melt and cook everything. It's brilliant.
Yeah, sounds like a croque monsieur, only you're making it with hot sauce.
Yeah, I don't know what a croque monsieur is. I've never heard that word.
It's like a grilled cheese sandwich with cheese. It's a French thing.
Oh, okay.
It's delicious.
I'm gonna come up with a name for it, because I've told the kids I invented it, so I'm a hero. But again, it's a reasonably small amount of calories, even though it's not healthy. And I promise, right? Yeah, that sounds like a risky move in a toaster, says the chat. But no, it's fine. You have got to look out for when it starts smoking and burning, and got to be ready to like take action. But it does work. So yeah, I promise that if I can get down to a weight that I want to be, I will start having a healthy lifestyle again. But for now, like, because my wife was saying, you're not eating healthy. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm losing weight. But my argument was that being overweight is unhealthier than an unhealthy diet. Does that track in any way? So I think, like, being just permanently overweight isn't good for my health either. So let me do this thing where I can just cut it down to a reasonable weight, and then we'll start going on about veggies and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't like it, I can tell.
I feel like, eat healthy. Eat healthy.
Don't want to.
Eat decent food.
No.
Eat good food. I'm laughing because in my head, I'm thinking of, we found new Anthony Bourdain shows. You may have guessed at this point that the wife and I are a bit of a fan of his shows.
Yep.
And in one, he's in his kitchen. He's talking about being a chef and in his kitchen. And the waiter comes to him with an order where the person has requested extra béarnaise sauce, but no butter. And he just looks for all the world, like you do when somebody turns up at the last minute and their microphone is plugged into their webcam socket and it's all a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, béarnaise sauce is nothing but butter. What is wrong with these people? And I'm just laughing. But yeah, eat good food. Don't worry too much about your exact number, and get a little exercise. You'll be fine.
The only reason I'm worrying about the number is just so that I'm not doing too much at the moment. It's not a long-term thing, but I'm gonna shake this belly off. And then I can go back to, oh my God, I'm getting really yelled at in the chat room. Oh my goodness. Look, I will. Look, I told you, I just said I put lettuce in my bolognese wrap. We're eating some vegetables. I'm just saying, if I skip a meal and have less calories, but that isn't as healthy, then I'll take that in the short term. And then I can get back to running, and Lauren won't yell at me anymore. Okay, good. Only a few pounds to go. Only about 7 pounds to go. So we'll keep sticking at it. And if I look visibly like sick or anything next week, you can start yelling at me saying, "Stop eating ice cream for lunch."
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You do need your vitamins and minerals, so you have to eat some kinds of real foods. I love, they sell like the giant tubs of mixed nuts. A handful of those are just really great for you, and they're very good if you have like just those tiny hunger pangs.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that though, because the hunger pangs, every time I have a hunger pan and I don't give into it, that's weight lost. So it's 3,500 calories is a pound, and if I fancy some crisps and then I don't have them, then that's like 150 calories. And I go, whoa, well, I'm 5% of the way to a lost pound. Right, let's finish up then. You've been mentioning this actor, Anthony Bourdain. I know, I've never heard of this person. Who is this person?
He wrote a very famous book called Kitchen Confidential. He was a chef at Lay Hall. And he sort of leveraged that into this career where he traveled around the world, went to all these different places and ate all these different kinds of food. He would meet up with these chefs. He would go to people's houses. So if you like travel and you like food, it's just genius. Plus he had, I don't know how to describe it. He's just one of those people who has opinions, and he was acerbic and funny and incredibly insightful and observational of the different cultures to which he went. So we just thoroughly enjoy all of his shows, and they've just we just found a whole new chunk of them have been made available, like from his very first shows back from the early 2000s. And so we've just been burning through them on Amazon.
Okay. All right. So you would recommend them then? They're on Amazon, and I will look for Anthony Bourdain. All right. Cool. Yeah. I've got nothing to watch on TV at the moment. We've tried a few things. We're bored of Future Man, which has got the sucker guy from Hunger Games on it. The less attractive love interest, Josh Hutcherson, that guy. And then that just got worse and worse and got crap. And then we tried watching something called Miracle Workers, which is Daniel Radcliffe, and it's on one of the Sky channels. But it was that was fine. But really, there's nothing. There's no. Where's my Game of Thrones? Where's my Heroes or something like that?
Right. So first of all, I assume you've nodded with Treme, despite my
Treme
multiple and repeated suggestions.
Treme, no, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is it just like an old guy program? Like it's just going to be, I don't know.
It's New Orleans. I think you would. Your wife, I know, would enjoy it just because of the music alone.
Fine. Oh, the boys. Yeah.
It's hilarious. Now, are these watch with a family recommendations?
No. I want ones to just me and the wife.
The Hunters.
I'm going to write these down actually. Treme, The Hunters. Right, tell me what The Hunters is about.
It's about a group of Jews who are hunting Nazis in the 70s in the United States.
Okay. Jeez. That's heavy. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, because we imported the Nazis for our rocket science program.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you needed that for all the space. Right, let's look at what the chat is recommending here. Mike Stone is suggesting The Boys. The Boys is really good. Have you seen that one, Matt?
No, not yet. It's on our, we will probably watch it in the not too distant future list.
It's quite dark. It's quite like, on the surface, it could be like a nicey superhero thing, but it does take like proper dark turns. So yeah, that is a good one. Is there a season 2 out? I saw season 1. If there's a season 2, that would be brilliant. Is there anybody else? Last Kingdom? Have you heard of that, Matt? Simon suggesting Last Kingdom.
No, I haven't actually, but I was going to go with Umbrella Academy just dropped its 2nd season. So if you've not seen that, watch both seasons. Season 2 is much better than season 1. Is it?
I watched episode 1 of the first season and was bored. And I was like, I understand that you have to invest some time to get into these things, but it was too much. I was too bored.
Yeah, no. Season 2 was definitely better than season 1. So
can I skip season 1?
You might want to watch the last. You got to watch from about halfway through because stuff starts getting explained. You got to find where they're explaining things bit and start there.
Okay, good. Right, we're going to get out of here, Matt, and we should get our heads together to do some kind of F1 patron-only show, maybe a Friday preview or something like that. What do you reckon? Should we jump on the mics tomorrow morning? Well, no, it's during free practice, isn't it? So, we could do in between the practices. After the practice.
Yeah, because the second practice. Well, I don't know. When is it European time or is it the same time as last week?
It's European time, yeah.
So that's an hour earlier. So that means that, pretty much, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 8, and then practice starts at 8 for me. I think after might be better if we're going to do such a thing.
After. All right, yeah. Let's look at doing something like that for the Patreon podcast too, and like a mini qualifying preview. Good. Give us an excuse to get back on the mic as well. I will explain the differences in sound next week and what we've been doing here with the studio. The first part of the show, I had like a really bad kind of artifact in my ear that I was confident you guys couldn't hear. And so I was like, spending the time trying to like juggle it. So sorry if I was distracted in the first 5 minutes. But thank you for coming to join us on the live stream. I believe this is our biggest live stream that we've had so far, which is lovely. And I like the idea of people nipping in and doing it, nipping in and out and watching the stream. Sticking to just Thursdays at the moment. I am looking for an excuse to extend that out again and grow it. The biggest excuse will be people watching. So please tell your friends about the Remain Indoors podcast. Tell them that you enjoy hanging out with us in the live stream. If each of you tell a person to tune in, that's how these things build. That's how word of mouth builds. I know, not big enough to bother the iTunes charts or anything. Follow the Twitter accounts of all of us at Indoors Remain, at MattPT55, and me at Spanners Ready. Wherever we see you next, work hard, be kind, and have fun, and where appropriate, remain indoors. There we go.